Hi everyone, happy hump day. I've been sitting in my car waiting for this stupid truck to stop backing up. Do you hear him? And the noise won't stop. Again, very apropos for what this cancer journey is like. Hopefully he stops shortly because I have errands to run, but I wanted to pop on to vlog about the symptoms, the signs I guess I had that something was wrong with my body before I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. So I just came from the orthodontist. No, these aren't real either. That's another fun story, or I guess a few fun stories. Yeah, these are fake, just like these. I used to joke and be like, when people are like, you have great teeth, I'm like, they're fake. They didn't always used to be fake. The short story for one of my teeth is that I was horsing around with my younger son when he was like a baby, and he headbutted me into my mouth, and I'm like, damn, that hurt. And I look over, there's like a line across my tooth. And it was like bleeding from like the inside, because it was weird. It wasn't like, there wasn't like blood on the outside, but there was like a line, and it was like getting darker. Anyway, he cracked my tooth. Or he didn't crack my tooth. Me fooling around and like, rough housing. I was playing peekaboo with him and like hiding, and I was like, boo, and he was like, boo, and whatever. We smashed head to mouth. Anyway, yeah, so I had to get a crown, and fast forward. So the crowns only last so long, and you probably all know he's heading off to college, so I've had my crown for quite a while at this point, actually. That's actually the one that chipped when I had COVID. So anyway, just one of the reasons why why I go to an orthodontist, but it was interesting when I went to sit down, because I still have retainers because I like to keep my expensive mouth intact so I don't need braces. I had braces and then Invisalign when I was, braces when I was a teenager, and then Invisalign when I was an adult because my teeth started shifting again. But when I looked, I dropped my retainer, and it bent, and it didn't fit the right way. And it's important, boys and girls, or even for adults, to wear the retainers at night, because then your teeth shift back to where they were before, which is no good when you spend like a ridiculous amount of money to have your teeth fixed. So anyway, went to an orthodontist, and I was looking at the little, computer screen at my chart, and I was peeking over, and I saw that the last time that I was there was July 1st of 2021, which super creeped me out, because I thought I had been there since the whole cancer thing happened. So what was creepy is I'm looking at July 1st, 2021, and I'm reading like, why was I there? And it said that I picked up, I got a new bottom retainer. It's like an Invisalign tray. Basically, that's what it looks like. I got a new one, and I remember having all these dental problems before, which is what led me to have the new one, because I had like cavities and stuff. Anyway, yeah, it was July 1st, and I was diagnosed it was that next week when I went for testing, and I was diagnosed on July 9th. So I'm like, a freaking week. How creepy, a week. So I have a nice relationship with my orthodontist. Like, she's fantastic at what she does. I mean, look at what she does. Look how pretty they are. Yeah. One of them I had to get replaced. Anyway, but I saw her, and we talk about stuff too, and our parenting journeys are very similar. And it was just weird to see her, because I'm like, she hasn't seen me since all this happened. Like, orthodonture was like not the number one priority when you're going through all this stuff. But when my retainer broke, I'm like, it didn't break. It just, I bent it, it bent when I dropped it by accident, and it didn't fit in my mouth right. And with all this like stuff from the weight gain, I'm like snoring at night. I do clench my teeth anyway, and the retainers help. They also work as a night guard. Because I just like bite down on them instead. And like many cancer or post-cancer survivors, whatever you call us, like I don't sleep well at night, and I need to make sure that I'm not like, if I don't have anything in my mouth at all, it would hurt, because I would like clench my teeth together, and then your jaw hurts and stuff. And it's just like one more thing of like why it's uncomfortable to sleep at night. So then I was thinking about, like, she's like, she needed a medical update. I'm like, okay, here we go, get a pen. Because she'd never actually heard of Zometa before. And I don't think it really impacts anything orthodonture-wise, except I would think if you do actively have braces or something, because, I mean, they're not meant to have anything bleed, but if you're having like spacers or something put in, or maybe the brackets, that might be an issue if you're on Zometa. I mean, I would hope that most people my age wouldn't need orthodonture or wouldn't go that route anymore, like, the old-fashioned silver or even the clear braces. Most people are doing Invisalign now. But I would think that if you're on Zometa, again, not a doctor, whatever, I would think that if you're on Zometa, because they tell you to be careful with if you need like big dental work done, that orthodonture would kind of play into that too, just because, you could get cut or have open things, basically where there's blood flow. And I think that's what the concern is with infection when you're on the Zometa. So anyway, so she had to look it up. So I helped someone today. Yay. Hopefully I'll help you too. Quick. I always say quick, and I'm never quick, but I do have to get stuff because today's my last day with my son at home, and he's turning 18 next week, and I have to go pick up some stuff from the store. All right, so backtracking, because there was stuff that I totally forgot about, even in all these vlogs I never even mentioned, because she asked me, like, or at least I told her, how I found out about all this stuff looking at my chart. And I forgot as I was coming in that I had, like, ridiculously chapped lips, dry mouth before all this stuff happened. Before I was diagnosed, I should say. And I know that sounds like, why would it be related to anything? But it's just adds to the list of like weird things that happened to me, like physically, before I was diagnosed. And like, why would you ever make the connection from my mouth is really dry to, oh, you have breast cancer? Like, would think they have nothing to do with each other. But I remember like odd things that happened to me, stepping back. So the pandemic started, the shutdown was in March of 2020. It's so weird to think back that far. If you're watching this like 10 years from now, you can Google, if they have Google still, COVID-19 pandemic, which technically started in 2019. That's the COVID-19 part. But the shutdown and the worldwide pretty much shut down was in March of 2020. So right before that, I feel like I was fine, because I was doing these courses for Landmark, and I was traveling. I went to California in October of 2019. I went to Manhattan in January of 2020. I feel like I went there twice in 2020. I don't remember. But the shutdown was in March, and I remember feeling fine throughout those trips. I didn't have any issues. I was thin. Like my normal, this is not my normal weight. Like my normal weight, didn't have issues with food. Like didn't have issues with sleep. I wasn't even snoring back then either, because I remember when we went on those trips, I was staying in a room with like 3 other people that were also doing the course with me. And one of the women in there snored. I'm like, oh crap, she snores. And then, because I didn't at the time. So I know that I could like, put things in place to stop snoring, but that will take some time. So the shutdown was in March. And then I remember, I take very diligent care of my teeth, because I've had a lot of like work done on my mouth. I had a lot of fillings when I was a kid, did not have the best oral hygiene. I don't know what that has to do with this vlog at all, but I'm just saying, like, as I got older, I've been very careful of my teeth, because I don't like to get shots, and I hate the dentist. Not my dentist personally, I just don't like going to the dentist. So the shutdown was in March of 2020. I had my kidney stone in September of 2020. 2020. Is that right? Yeah, September of 2020. Horrible pain. And I was eating so healthy before that. Granted, I will admit, during the shutdown, like most everyone, like I did put on a couple of pounds and, you know, everyone was home. I wasn't really, well, actually I was walking around, like around, when we could, like I was walking around outside and stuff. But so yeah, I wasn't doing anything like unhealthy wise that would have led to the kidney stone. So that was like super random that I got a kidney stone. Most kidney stones are made from oxalates. Is it calcium oxalates? I don't even remember now. But most kidney stones are made from oxalates, and oxalates you can find in all sorts of different foods, which is why they say to stay away from like a lot of dark leafy greens, like, you know, no spinach, almonds, leeks, miso. There's a whole long list of things that you're really not supposed to eat because they can just increase the oxalates in your body and then create another, you know, kidney stone, which you certainly don't want. My kidney stone, just for a fun fact, I had, it was like like I said, my son turns, his birthday's coming up. So I remember I went to the grocery store for like a half an hour, and then I went to the party store to get balloons. I had the balloons in my car, and I remember at the balloon store, I was only those two places. It's not like I was running around. I just started getting an upset stomach, and like, which could happen, like whatever. I just figured I ate something or whatever. And so I just was like, all right, let me just, you know, shut it down and head home. And I went home, and I remember my stomach like really, really hurt to the point that I didn't bring the balloons upstairs, which is not like me because, you know, if you leave balloons well, it was September, so I don't know if it was still really warm, but it, you know, it can change how the balloons are inflated and stuff. So it's not like me to leave the balloons in the car. I came upstairs, went to the bathroom, like nothing was happening, and I'm like, you know, why does my stomach hurt like this? Anyway, so progressively over the next hour, like I just went to lay on the couch, I got tired, and then the stomach ache turned into, it was really fast, like really fast. It was like a dull stomach ache, and all of a sudden it was like this pain in my right side, like lower right side, kind of underneath my ribs. And it was like a stomach ache that was getting like really bad, really fast, which was just weird. And I have a pretty high threshold for pain, so I'm like, you know, it's probably just like a GI thing. I can just suck it up and just wait and whatever. And very quickly, fast forward, turned into me like crying, holding my side with my hand, thinking it will still pass. And my kids are like, we should call 911. I'm like, no, you don't have to call 911. And then I was literally on the floor, like screaming because I'm not even exaggerating at all. It feels like someone is taking a knife and like, because it went from my front over to my side, closer to my back on the right side. And it felt like someone had taken like a dagger, not that I had this done, but had a dagger like in my skin, like, you know, like towards my back, underneath my ribs, to put a dagger in. And almost like they were just like going like, not that it was shifting, because like the pain was just like severe, but it felt like I had like what it would feel like, I would think, to be stabbed. And then finally I called 911 and they came, and so that's shooting pain. I went to the hospital, clearly, and it was during the pandemic and there's shutdown and stuff. So the hospital was like a total shit show. You have your mask on, and I'm like screaming, and oh my God, I won't go into all that stuff. It was not a good time. Yeah, so that happened, and that the horrific pain, by the way, just as another fun fact, when you have a kidney stone and it goes from your kidney into your ureter, that the leaving of the kidney to your ureter is what causes that pain, because your ureter is only, I don't remember how big it is, like 2 millimeters or something. And like my kidney stone, I think, was like 3 millimeters, which creeps me out even as I'm saying that, because my tumor was 3 centimeters. So just dumb coincidence. So when you're taking like, you know, it looks like a crystal, because I did eventually pass. It took me about a month, and I did pass it on my own. They do give you meds in case it ever happens again. I haven't had one since. But I did pass it, and when they analyzed it, they found out that it was partially oxalates, but it was 50% of it was calcium phosphate, which is not usually what kidney stones are made out of. So then they're looking at, well, why? So they did a whole bunch of blood work, and they found that my parathyroid hormone levels were like super high. And you have 4 parathyroid glands. It's not, whenever I say that, people are like, oh, you have thyroid issues. I'm like, no, yes, the word is in it, but that's not what it means. You have 4 parathyroid glands that are around your thyroid, and those parathyroid glands are the size of like a grain of rice. And when your numbers are so high and they're firing, it's like they're trying to tell your body something's wrong in your body that they want to fix. And at the time, I figured, well, what was wrong was I had the kidney stone. In hindsight, I think what was wrong was I had cancer. My body was trying to tell me somehow. What it did was, like, you know, like this tumor is here, and it's like, hello, this is going on, this is here. What my body was doing was sucking calcium out of my bones and overloading my blood, blood flow, whatever, with calcium. And then it just basically like bonds together the calcium, and it almost looks like, it looks like a crystal. It's super, super small, but like when you look at it like close up, I took a picture of it and zoom in, it looks like a crystal. That would be a fun thumbnail. I'd be like, what the heck is that? That's my kidney stone. I think I named him Fred. So it was weird that it was calcium phosphate, because that's not typical. I went on this very, they started me on, which I still am taking, hydrochlorothiazide, which is common for people that have had kidney stones. And ironically, since the cancer, like my parathyroid hormone levels have dropped quite a bit. When your levels are that high, it could also mean that you have a tumor on your parathyroid glands, and it's hard to know if you have a tumor there. Usually they end up just going in to do surgery, and then when they're in there, they can see, they put like something on it, and they can see like how, like which of the 4 glands is misfiring, and then like do surgery and stuff, which is interesting. But when you have the surgery, it could also affect your voice. And seems like a small issue now after going through a life-threatening, diagnosis. But at the time, I was like, I can't have my voice threatened. Like, I speak, not for a living, but, I was a teacher, so I did speak for a living. But I was a talk show host, not paid, though that would be lovely if I could do that. But I'm like, I can't lose my voice. I'm doing a talk show. Like, I can't not have my voice. Like, that's what makes me alive, is to do this talk show. And I can't not have my voice. So, of course, if I had a tumor, I would have had them removed. But anyway, so there was just a lot of like figuring stuff out. And I'm glad that, I started seeing a urologist and an endocrinologist to figure out stuff with the kidney stone. And it was just like, it just seemed so odd to me, because I'm like, I don't understand. Well, like, I have a healthy diet. I thought eating spinach was good, gave me iron, whatever. It's not like I was eating ridiculous amounts of spinach or almonds or any of those things. Chocolate you're not supposed to have. Like, there's a whole long list of stuff. So I altered my diet like severely to not eat any of those oxalate foods, like, at all. I started drinking in ridiculous amounts of water. I still drink about 100 ounces a day. But so the parathyroid hormone levels dropped from me taking the hydrochlorothiazide, which is what's supposed to happen. So then you figure, okay, everything is fine. The levels are dropping. We're all good to go. So that was September. And then looping back to the, orthodontist, I remembered that I went to the dentist in the wintertime, and she called me shortly after Christmas time and told me that I had like 6 or 7 cavities. And I'm like, what? Like, granted, when I was little, I would get 6 cavities because, like, I didn't like floss and I did not take care of my teeth well at all. But I'm like, why would I have 6 or 7 cavities, you know? I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not like brushing as diligently as I was because of the pandemic and I'm just home and being lazy. But I'm like, that's a lot of cavities. And they were all kind of isolated to one spot, which was just it was all just so odd. And she's like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm like, is there something else wrong? Am I missing something? Whatever. So I had the cavities filled. They were all small cavities, but there was a lot of them. I did notice too that like my gums were bleeding more than usual. Again, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how much is connected. I'm just telling you, like, these are the bizarro things that happened, like, prior to me finding out what the hell was going on. And yes, I was diagnosed July 9th of 2021. And they told me that I probably had my cancer for about 1.5 years before. Because it doesn't, like, happen like that. You know, it takes time for it to grow to show up. Because when they found the tumor, my bigger tumor was 3.3 or 3.4 centimeters, which is pretty large for a tumor. They graded it. Grades and stages are different, but they graded it as a grade 2. Anyway, so I had the 6 or 7 cavities, had them filled. And I remember when I went there, sometime around there, my lips, like I said before, were getting wicked dry. I mean, to the point that they were like cracking. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have pretty nice lips. I use chapstick or something like almost all the time on my mouth to keep it hydrated. And like, I remember my lips were almost like a whitish blue. It was so nasty. And I totally forgot about it until I went to see her. Because I was like, oh, why was I here? I don't remember. I had to get my bottom retainer fixed because of all the cavities. My old Invisalign tray just wasn't fitting the right way. And I remember sitting in the chair and I had a hard time opening my mouth because it was so like dry, and it was cracking like here and here. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm just getting older. You know, as you get older, you can like see it there, you know, your face starts to sag and whatever. And I'm like, maybe this is just what happens, but it sucks. And so they gave me like these, this stuff to rinse with, like for like dry mouth. And I'm like, dry mouth? I've never had dry mouth. Like, what the hell is that all about? And they gave me a variety of different kinds of lip balms to try. And I know they were just trying to help. Like, how would you connect the two? But it was just weird. Yeah. So like Burt's Bees, the things I learned. Burt's Bees lip balms are awesome. I used Aquaphor. They have a lip balm that's more like Vaseline-y. What is that? Drop. There was something else too. I can't remember the third one. So I tried all the lip balms they told me to try, and I still use them, but they made it a little more tolerable. And I don't remember what it was that made that go away, because clearly I don't have it now, and I don't remember it being an issue like close to diagnosis either. So I don't know what it was. I don't believe I took any medication for anything. But again, just a weird thing, like I had like cracks, like here and here and here, mostly my upper lip. It was just like odd. I couldn't understand like what was happening. And it's not like I was, you know, like, like if you kiss a lot or something, you know, your lips get dry or whatever, you know, it was the winter time, but I wasn't even dating anyone then. It was the pandemic. Like I wasn't dating anybody. It was just so weird. I totally spaced on the whole lip thing. So yes, I had to go there to get another retainer made. But that was July 1st when I picked it up. What else had happened? I did notice that my hair was falling out a little bit, but my shampoo and conditioner was also recalled during the time of the pandemic. So because it was causing people's hair to fall out. Not a lot, but enough that like I have pretty thick hairs. I don't know if you could tell. I have pretty thick hair. So, but I just noticed like when I go in the shower or I would, you know, run my fingers through my hair, like more of it would come out than usual. And I'm like, that's just kind of weird. Yeah, the kidney stone, I guess, was the biggest thing. Oh, and then March rolls around, March of 2021, like a year after the shutdown, and I got COVID. And it's not like, I was socializing with the same 2 people. And even that, one of them I hardly ever saw. The other one I only saw like once every couple of months, I think, or something. like, I was being super diligent about the whole, like, pandemic thing because I didn't want to get sick. Yeah, like, I was wearing a mask out, like, I wasn't, like, eating indoors and stuff. Like, the only thing is I live in an apartment, and I remember that we had 3, I don't want to say fire drills. There was something faulty with the fire board or something, whatever. So, like, in the middle of the night, we had the alarm went off, and there's a firefighter who lives in my section, and he's like, everyone get out. And I've never had to be, like, evacuated from my building before, which was kind of creepy. So we were outside for, I don't know how long it was, like maybe an hour or so, like in the middle of the night. And, like, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I walk outside and, like, I don't even know if I brought a mask on. I don't remember. But the only thing I could think of was that I got COVID walking down the hallway to go outside. Because when we're outside, I wasn't standing by anybody except my kids. And I live in the top floor too. So, like, it's not like I was seeing other people. They were already all outside because I was waiting till they were gone. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe they left their germs in the hallway, even though I know now that's not how it works. So I don't really know how the hell I got COVID. I was using sanitizer. I was washing my hands all the time and stuff. I was having groceries delivered and stuff too. Like, it made no sense. I'm like, why would I get COVID when I'm watching everything so carefully? I don't know. So that happened in March. I had it, I mean, I wasn't hospitalized, but I had it pretty bad. Lost taste, lost smell. I mean, that's just one part of it. The achy bones is, like, the worst part of the whole thing. My oxygen levels were always okay, but I still had to check. And I did buy one of those things, I can't remember now what it's called, that you breathe into to practice and stuff, which did not help during my mastectomy at all. Having COVID and then, like, in March, and then having, the mastectomy in August, my lungs still weren't 100% at all. I don't remember what the thing is called. You blow into it, and it has, like, 3 balls. You blow into it, and the balls are, like, harder to blow, and it's just practice. It's just a way of your lungs, like, getting exercise, basically. I can't remember what it's called. I did another vlog too, and I couldn't remember what it was called. Anyway, if you look in the comments of my vlogs, a friend of mine who's a nurse told me what it was called. I'm not remembering it now. So yeah, COVID was in March, and then things started, like, getting better with COVID, with the pandemic, I should say, and things were opening up, and that's when I went to get my, I started going for my appointments, and I went in for my annual with my gynecologist. Wasn't my gynecologist, it was another doctor, or it might have been a nurse who was there, I'm not sure. Because I didn't think anything was so special, and they're like, do you want to just see this person so you can get in faster? I'm like, yeah, because it's been like 2 years since I've been here, and I'd rather see somebody than see nobody. And she felt around, and I told her, like, dig deep, feel around, because I haven't had a mammogram in 2 years, and I haven't been here in a while, and I just want to make sure all's good. And she dug deep around there, and she felt around, and she didn't feel a damn thing. And I don't blame her, because, like, I had, oh my God, the amount of texts that I had touching my boobs, like, because then I had the biopsies, I had, mammogram, biopsy, MRI, biopsy with the mammogram. Yes, where they put your boob in a mammogram and do a biopsy while your boob is in the mammogram. Though I have to say, it wasn't as painful as for me as I thought it would be, because I think my adrenaline was just going, like, why am I here having this done? Like, what's wrong? Because I shouldn't be here all day. And then I had an ultrasound biopsy, well, more than one done. And it's funny, I don't even know. I definitely had 2 on the right side, 1 on the left. That's an earlier vlog too, because I remember, sorry, it's just my finger, that Laura had sent me pictures, and I put stickers, or she sent me stickers, and I put stickers on my boobs, like, just to be kind of funny. I think it was before I knew, well, that's not true. I knew I had cancer, because they told me when I had the ultrasound done. See, now my hand's shaking because I'm getting, like, upset. Yeah. And what's weird is, good weird, is that now that, like, time has gone by, and, like, I'm obviously processing a lot more because I'm a year out and empty nesting soon. So, like, just a lot of things just slowed down my life unfortunately make you think. The fogginess is still there. I had brain fog, like, bad. I didn't mention that part, but I don't even know. I had brain fog really badly. I thought it was because of the kidney stone. I thought it was because of COVID, like too much stuff was going on and my body was just tired. And when I mean brain fog, it's more than just like what just happened where I'm like, what was I saying? Because people do that all the time. The part with my brain fog that made me scared was I needed to drive into town to go to the post office, I think. Yeah, to go to the post office. I lived in the same town for 11 years. And I took side streets, and when I went to get to the main street, I couldn't remember where the post office was. I've lived there for 11 years. And I look left and I look right. And I'm like, well, I know if I go this way, that's the way to work. And I know if I go that way, it's the way to Whole Foods, which is funny because I hardly ever shop at Whole Foods. And I couldn't put together that Whole Foods is like right by the post office. And I didn't know where to go. And I'm at the stop sign and I just start like crying because I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I've lived here for 11 years. And instead of just like turning and seeing and making a mistake and going the other way, I was just like frozen. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, and honestly, now looking back, I don't even remember which way I turned. I probably turned right because it was safer to take a right than to make a left and cross traffic. And I don't even remember if I ever actually got to the post office. It's so crazy. But I remember going home like, something's wrong. Like, something is wrong. I don't understand. Like, is it all these things? Does a kidney stone just knock you on your feet like that? Like, you know, it was before COVID. It was after the kidney stone. It was before COVID. Because I remember I did an episode of my show, because we had won Best Talk Show in the Northeast at the ACM Awards, and I was doing a show with the person I had interviewed, and that was on Valentine's Day, and I got COVID in March, so it was after the kidney stone, but before I had COVID. And I'm like, is that just what happens when you have a kidney stone like that? You get brain fog. And I didn't drive for a bit after that because I was scared to get lost. And I remember turning on the Find My thing on my phone, which is funny because usually people use the Find My to keep track of their kids, and I turned it on so that my kids could keep track of me. Because I'm like, if there's something seriously wrong with me, that like I'm getting lost, I don't want to be lost and nobody knows where I am. So I turned that on. I turned my stat map on just so that people could find me, which is like crazy when I was 49. And I'm like, I have to worry about like getting lost. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And like, how would you ever equate those things individually to breast cancer? And they can't tell you for sure, but I have never, like, I normally lead a pretty healthy life. I have worked very hard as an adult to lead a very healthy life. And to have all this shit happen within like a year and a half. Really? Because I felt fine when I started taking that landmark course. And that was just less than a year and a half. So when they said it probably took a year and a half for, you know, that I had cancer before it showed up. Yeah, that's when shit started going weird. Yeah, then I chipped my tooth. I chipped my gorgeous crown. That was my own fault. I mean, that was after I had COVID. I was just, I was having bread with soup because you have a lot of chicken noodle soup when you're like in your room all the time and not feeling well. And I just bit into hard crust on a piece of bread. And that's what chipped my tooth. It's just so weird. And I don't want to make people paranoid about stuff because like, then you could sit there going, well, like, I have a pimple. Do I have cancer? You know, you could go nuts doing that. But I'm beyond that at this point. Like, I'm not looking for reasons to why I got cancer. It doesn't matter. I mean, if there's something like in my face, But all these things seem like they're not related, but they were related because my body was telling me something was wrong. And I think my lifestyle at the time was like rush, rush, rush. My lifestyle for a long time was like rush, 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 do everything. Like, you know, single momming is a lot. And, you know, when you're a teacher, you're rush, rush, rush. I was trying to be the best me possible. And I was doing all this, like, you know, self-help stuff, whatever, after my divorce. And again, rush, rush, rush. And maybe the brain fog was my body's way of saying, slow the fuck down. Slow down. I have a pillow that says slow down. Another overpriced pillow from Canyon Ranch. And I do now. Like, what a life lesson, you know? You lose 2 boobs and you learn to slow down. So I share all that with you, not to get you paranoid if you have cavities or if, you know, you get a kidney stone, it means you have cancer. Because no, it doesn't. But you need to be aware of these signs and know that, like, I mean, my body has a voice, sort of, kind of. But when your body's trying to tell you something, you know, you got to listen. And a lot of us are so busy going around so much stuff and doing all these things in the grand scheme of things that just don't matter. They matter at the time, but in the grand scheme of life, they don't matter. What matters is, like, you yourself and taking care of yourself. And I don't beat myself up about the things that I did because I don't see that I did something wrong that I deserve to get breast cancer. That's not how it is for me at all. It shouldn't be that way for anyone. It's not like you do something and then, like, you know, if you do X, then you will get breast cancer. You know, that's not how it works. There's people that smoke, like, a shit ton and never get lung cancer. You know, you can't equate one to the other. The why doesn't matter. The WHY, it doesn't matter. At least not for me. You know, it doesn't really matter. Too many things happen just because they happen. But if there's one thing to pull away from today is you have to listen to your body. If there are things that are going on that just seem weird to you, if you're noticing things that don't normally happen to you, like physically, then it could be your body that's trying to tell you something. And it doesn't necessarily mean cancer, but it means something. And you need to look into it. You know, life is precious, man. You get one. You get one life. And when your body's saying, like, you know, stop and look at me, then you need to stop and do what you can to figure out what's going on. And I'm blessed that, like, even though it was a 1.5 years of crazy and I didn't even know why, I'm here. And now I have fake boobs to match my fake teeth. Which I guess is funny because my fake teeth are nicer than my old teeth. My old teeth were fine, but my fake boobs, I don't know. I guess when I look in the mirror, the shape of them looks better than my old boobs. But they're cancer-free boobs. They're not indented. Because, yeah, I did, you know, like I said, she did the exams too. Cancer doesn't hurt, which sounds so bizarre because, like, it's the treatments that hurt. But if you have physical pain, because there were plenty of times in my life where I had physical pain in my boobs that I was worried. And I had, like, mammograms done when I was too young to have them. It's very hard to get a mammogram before you're, like, 35. And, like, things were fine. This didn't hurt. Nothing hurt. The only thing that I noticed when I looked in the mirror was, well, my boobs were getting saggier, but, like, you know, I was turning 50. I'm like, this is just what happens. Your boobs get saggy. And I did notice that my right boob seemed like it was, like, scooped in a little bit. But again, I just thought I was losing tissue or muscle or whatever just because I was getting older. I didn't know. Because my left side wasn't like that. And I'm not positive if that's even what it was. Because by the time, like, they do by the time they did the ultrasounds and stuff, like, when you leave the ultrasounds, you're pretty bruised afterwards. And it was creepy. I don't remember if I put a picture of this up or not. I feel like it was one of my thumbnails in the beginning, because it was creepy when they did the ultrasound that my bruising was basically the outline of my tumor. So like that was my one way of seeing what my tumor kind of looked like, except seeing it on an ultrasound. All right, so I need to go get stuff and be cheerier, and I have my processing for the day and move on. I haven't even had breakfast yet. That's not listening to my body. But I am gonna go have some food, and yeah, lots to process. I feel like all these are gonna start with 1 year out, blah blah. I'll have to tweak how I do these somehow, but don't have the bandwidth to do that right now, so it is what it is. And I did a vlog a couple days ago about someone who made a not kind comment on one of my videos. It was the Zameda one too. I don't know if I'm going to put that vlog up or not. I'll have to rewatch it and see. Sometimes I've like just, hit record and then I'm like, do I want to put that up there or not? And I just like delete them or something. But I will say, I'm grateful that I'm able to help people that are going through this journey, and being able to help their caretakers too. And what I will say for the person that made that comment, if they're watching, I can only guess that you would watch, because it was my Zameda episode, I can only imagine that you would actually watch that vlog because, you're wondering what it is. Or maybe you're a caregiver of somebody who's going through this shit, and I get the anger. I get the anger. I very much so get the anger. But the anger, you need to find a healthy outlet for releasing that anger. And being nasty to somebody who's going through all of this stuff is not an appropriate outlet for all of it. So I only wish all of you good health and peace and happiness, and listen to your bodies and be kind. Until next time.